Most people believe icons are created through noise, through constant headlines, dramatic reinventions, bold statements, and relentless visibility. But what if that belief is wrong? What if the most enduring icons aren't the loudest ones, but the ones who know exactly when not to speak? Selena Gomez is proof that presence doesn't require volume, and influence doesn't depend on domination. And once you understand how she operates, you start to realize that her quiet approach is not a weakness. It's the strategy. Selena never tried to overpower the room. She never competed for attention in the traditional sense. While others chased virality, she moved at her own rhythm. And in a world addicted to speed, her slowness became striking. Her pauses felt intentional. Her absences felt meaningful. People didn't forget her when she stepped back. They leaned in, waiting. That alone tells you something important. How many public figures could disappear and still remain relevant simply because of who they are? From early on, Selena was surrounded by noise. Fame arrived young, fast, and without mercy. The system around her pushed visibility as survival. More appearances, more content, more exposure. But instead of becoming louder to keep up, she gradually did the opposite. She simplified. She reduced. She chose what deserved her energy. And that decision quietly reshaped how the public related to her. She stopped feeling like a product and started feeling like a person. Being iconic isn't about constant reinvention. It's about coherence. Selena's identity didn't fracture with every new face. Her music, her acting, her public moments all carried the same emotional tone. Vulnerable without being fragile. Honest without being theatrical. Reserved without being distant. That consistency created trust. And trust is what turns admiration into loyalty. Ask yourself this: how many celebrities do you feel you understand? Not because they explain themselves constantly, but because they don't? Her silence has weight because it isn't empty. When Selena speaks, it's rarely impulsive. It's measured, considered, grounded in experience rather than reaction. That's why her words travel far when she finally shares them. They aren't diluted by overuse. In a culture where everyone talks all the time, restraint becomes power. Silence becomes contrast. And contrast is unforgettable. Another reason she doesn't need to be loud is that she never positions herself above others. Selena doesn't present herself as flawless or superior. She doesn't sell perfection. She acknowledges struggle without romanticizing it. That humility removes distance. People don't look up at her from below. They walk beside her. And that emotional proximity is rare at her level of fame. It creates a sense of shared humanity that no amount of shouting could replicate. There's also strength in how she handles absence. Selena steps away without announcing it as a dramatic exit. No long explanations. No grand statements. Just space. That choice communicates confidence. It says, I don't need to constantly prove my relevance. And paradoxically, that confidence reinforces it. Would you trust someone more if they constantly demanded attention, or someone who knew they'd be remembered even in silence? Halfway through this story, pause for a moment. Think about the people who influence you the most in your own life. Are they the loudest voices, or the ones whose presence feels steady and grounded? If this resonates with you, subscribe to the channel and leave a comment with your thoughts. These conversations grow deeper when more people reflect together. Selena's iconic status is also rooted in emotional honesty. She never turned vulnerability into spectacle. She didn't monetize pain or dramatize healing. She shared when it mattered and stayed quiet when it didn't. That boundary protected her authenticity. And authenticity, when preserved, becomes timeless. Trends expire. Personas fade. But emotional truth lasts. Even criticism couldn't force her to become louder. She didn't fight every narrative. She didn't correct every misunderstanding. She allowed complexity to exist. That patience confused people who expected reactions. Over time, the noise moved on, and her presence remained. That's the long game. Not winning every moment, but outlasting the moment itself. Selena also understands that visibility is not the same as relevance. She doesn't flood the world with content just to stay in the algorithm. When she returns, it feels purposeful. Each appearance carries intention. That makes people pay attention not because they're overwhelmed, but because they're curious. Curiosity is far more powerful than saturation. Her influence feels global because it isn't tied to one culture, one phase, or one version of herself. It's rooted in something universal, the need to feel seen without being judged. Her quietness leaves space for projection. People see themselves in her not because she explains everything, but because she leaves room for interpretation. And that's how icons cross borders. What makes her approach especially powerful is that she never claims to be an icon. She doesn't announce her significance. She lets time do that work. That humility disarms expectation. It keeps her grounded while others burn out trying to maintain an image they outgrew. Longevity doesn't come from intensity. It comes from alignment. Selena Gomez doesn't need to be loud because her presence carries emotional gravity, because her silence feels intentional, because her story doesn't rely on spectacle, and because her influence isn't built on dominating attention, but on earning trust. That's the kind of power that doesn't fade when trends shift. It deepens. As you reach the end of this reflection, consider this question. In your own life, where could quiet strength replace noise? Where could restraint create more impact than reaction? If this perspective shifted the way you see influence and identity, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts in the comments. Your voice, even when quiet, has more power than you think.